Okay. America is drowning in messages from pop culture. We cannot escape it. It is on our phones, on the internet, on TV. We see it when we drive, when we shop for groceries, when we go to school, when we go to work. We even hear it portrayed in the music we listen to. Pop culture follows us. According to healthyplace.com, the average woman sees 400 to 600 advertisements every day, and by the time she's 17, she has been exposed to over 250,000 commercial messages through the media. Also, a study done by Magazine Publishers of America states that 78% of teens read magazines. ScienceDaily.com says that 60% of teens spend about 20 hours a week in front of a TV. Pop culture influences us and shapes the way we think and feel. With so much power, you would think that companies would be careful of what they put out, right? Wrong. Magazine companies are giving girls unhealthy views about their bodies. Movies are giving girls unrealistic views of what love should look like. And TV shows are teaching women that you have to look cool and act cool to be accepted. Pop culture is destroying women in ways that most people do not even realize. Pop culture is negatively affecting the way women think they must look, act, and feel, and it needs to stop immediately. Women are being told by pop culture that their appearances are the most important thing about them. A study was done called Equal Opportunity Objectification, the Sexualization of Men and Women on the Cover of Rolling Stone by Eric Hatton and Marinelle Trauner. The study takes magazine covers of Rolling Stone magazine from 1960s to the 2000s and compares the sexualization of men to the sexualization of women. The results are shocking. Only 11% of men on the covers of Rolling Stone magazines were sexualized in the 1960s, as opposed to 44% of women. In the 2000s, the percent of men being sexualized on the covers of this magazine has only raised to 17%, while the percent of women has nearly doubled at 83%. According to the statistics from an article posted in an online newspaper called The Sun, in 1995, just as television was introduced, researchers found that only 3% of 17-year-old girls reported that they threw up in order to lose weight. 3 years later, this figure jumped to 15%. The girls who watched television at least 3 nights a week were 50% more likely than others to see themselves as too fat, and 30% more likely to diet, even though the ones who watched TV were no more fat than the ones who did not watch TV. Girls now start dieting at ages as young as 9 years old, and at 13 have a higher risk of developing eating disorders. According to eatingdisorderfoundation.org, 81% of teen 10-year-old girls are afraid of being fat. DoSomething.org says that 75% of girls with low self-esteem reported engaging in negative activities like bullying, smoking, drinking, or disordered eating. 80% of women are made insecure by images that they see of women on television, and more than 66% of women are influenced by underweight models in magazines, according to Livestrong.com. Women's self-esteem is being destroyed, ripped apart by pop culture. Pop culture has made a huge negative impact on the way that young women feel that they need to act. Women are being told to act in 2 opposing ways. One way is to be submissive to men. They are told that they need men and that they need to do whatever it takes to get someone to love them. An example of this would be Bella from the book Twilight. She needs Edward, and when they are dating, she secludes herself from her friends to spend more time with him. When he leaves, she falls into a state of major depression. This is portrayed as a love story. Pop culture is telling us that this is what love looks like. The other way girls are told that they need to act is to be dominant. This side says, do not let boys tell you what to do, guys don't own you, and that men are inferior. An example of this would be a Play yogurt commercial I just saw on TV the other day. A wife was talking to one of her friends on the phone about what she's been eating lately. Things like key lime pie, apple turnovers, and the stupid husband is behind her frantically searching the fridge for said desserts, looking in the most ridiculous places, and somehow completely looking right past the 25 plus containers of yogurt right in front of him. Eventually the wife hears him and turns around. Honey, what are you doing? she says in a voice that implies that she is superior, as if he were her son and not her husband. Both sides of the spectrum are extremely unhealthy, and pop culture is confusing women by giving them mixed signals about which direction to take in the way that they act. Pop culture negatively influences the way women feel by handing us love stories that we can never live up to. Movies like The Notebook, About Time, and The Spectacular Now teach us that love is spontaneous, crazy, and magical. These movies give us an unrealistic view about how situations will turn out. For instance, in The Notebook, two people are separated by the woman's parents. The boy writes to her every day for a year, but her mother hides the letters, so the girl never knows. She finds someone else and is going to get married, but runs into him again. They begin to fall in love all over again, end up having an affair, and she ends up leaving her husband-to-be for him. There is kissing in the rain, laying in the street. It is all so romantic, but not so realistic. It sets women up to have a higher expectation of what romance should feel like, only to be let down when they realize that this kind of thing doesn't happen in real life. We are taught that we should feel a certain way, that our relationship should look like The Notebook. When we find we aren't getting that outcome, women think that it is the relationship that's wrong, not the standards. The media and pop culture has taken romance and morphed it into something unrealistic. Pop culture needs to be brought back to reality. It has become twisted from something that changes with people, with what we liked and what people as a whole thought was cool or in, to something that changes people, something that influences us. We have given pop culture more power than we should, and we need to take it back. Women's self-esteem is being compromised for the sake of entertainment. Women feel that they need to sexualize themselves to match the standards of the girls in magazines, movies, and on TV. They think that they need to act a certain way in order to fit in, and they are being trained that romance feels much better than it actually does, making real romance seem dull or unexciting. Their lives are being affected by this. We need to change the way pop culture portrays women, and we need to change it now. Thank you.